Good morning, everybody. Magandang umaga po sa lahat. Maayong bundag kaninyong tanan. Sao Xiang Hao in Chinese. In Japanese, Ohayo gozaimasu. John Akimieyo in Korean. Buenos dias, hermanos y hermanas. Do you think I know a lot of languages? No, I don't have any fluency in any languages besides Filipino. My English, as described here in the Philippines, is Carabao, meaning not good at all. As a matter of fact, I sought help to translate this speech into English. But I want to say that there was a language I want to know better and have been wanting to speak well. That is the language of mercy and the language of love. That's the language I aspire to speak, the language of mercy and love from our God, like Saint Faustina and Saint John Paul II. I think it's always the reason why I am invited to speak to you all today, to talk about His mercy and His love of God in my life. Not in my wildest dreams have I ever thought that I would be standing and speaking in front of many people. I could never imagine this. Like you, perhaps, I am also asking myself, who could she be that she is speaking to us right now in a big congress of people? My name is Divina Fresnido. I was born March 26, 1960. Many people call me Ate Divine. I think my name Divine is the only worthy qualification that I have since this Congress is about divine mercy. Ate Divine and her life with divine mercy. I can also say that this talk or sharing is about my mission in divine mercy, or the mission of divine mercy has given me, like Saint Faustina and Saint John Paul II. I will start by telling the story of my life from childhood. I was born poor with 9 siblings. My father was a farmer, very hardworking, lucky in farming, growing vegetables, catching fish, frogs, or any resources from the fields, rivers, and streams. However, whenever he had money, who would surely feel the urge to gamble and not think about us having nothing to eat the next day? My mother stayed at home and took care of my other siblings since they were too young at that time and needed more attention. Life before was indeed hard for all of us. Time before is different. There's no technology to make things easier. There's no convenient transportation, decent jobs, and advanced resources, contrary of what we have now. I am the eldest among my siblings. Hence, the load of responsibility is similar to a parent. At very young age, I already know that I'll be the help for my parents to raise my siblings. As the eldest, I was mostly the one who do all the works, and I often often found myself being sent to the store to borrow items. It was tough because when the police got too long, the owner would scold me hurtful words. I was also the one sent to ask rice from relatives, enduring all the insults and harsh words, with people calling us beggars and accusing us of having thick skin for requesting rice. I had to accept all of that so our family could have something to eat. Imagine, at very young age, I learned to earn so we could have food on the table. At the age of 9, I would buy vegetables in bulk from the fields, walk almost 3 kilometers. Out of pity, the owner would always give me the vegetables. Even though I was young, I could be seen selling vegetables in the village with a basket on my head, almost invisible the sight due to the big basket. It was rare for us to have a decent meal, but it was okay if we had only had vegetables for our meals as long we had rice. There was a time when my grandmother would take me Manila to laundry, iron clothes, and cleaning the house of my aunt who was professor in FEU. There I experienced being scolded and mistreated extremely. I endured all those harsh and hurtful words. I was restricted to many things, and that includes any food. All our relatives saw us beggars because our tired situation. We are unwanted. We are deprived of many things because we are poor. We are humiliated by many people we not accepted at all. When I finished elementary in Bubulong Malaki, San Ildefonso, Bulacan, my grandfather left us 20 hectares of piece of land. We moved to Peñaranda, Nueva Ecija. When we transferred, we felt a little hope that everything will change and life will be better since there's an electricity in that vicinity. But it turned worse. We moved to live at our aunt's house. I thought everything would change when we moved. I never thought we could be in more downer situation. One time, during the harvest season, everybody in the fields to gather rice grain, and I was left alone in the house. The husband of my aunt was also there and attempted to molest me. I was lucky enough to run away quickly and escape from him. The next morning, when my aunt found out that I had left the house, she came to me very angry and questioned my absence. I told them what had happened, that her husband tried to molest me, but instead of siding with me, she didn't believe me. She even beat me for accusing her husband. My parents did nothing and also didn't believe me. It affected me badly then, knowing nobody believed in me. I was helpless. My uncle laughed at me. I was angry at the time, but I could not do anything. After that, I continued to live by selling vegetables and providing for my family. When I was studying in high school, I remember I only have one pair of shoes, one skirt, and two blouses. Those are oversized. I finished high school by doing an ice cook and vendor in our canteen. This helped me to get free during recess. After finishing high school, I was brought to Bagong Barrio, Caloocan City, to live with my mother's siblings for free. But in return, I had to do all the household chores and be helper for them. I even filled up the water in 5 drums from the well daily to use for in their house. When I was in there, I found a job in toy factory in Novaliches. My salary was small, so I had no choice but to walk from home to work to save money. One time when I'm going home, it was muddy and dark. I almost got raped again by a stranger in a grassy area. But luckily, an old man with a cane arrived and saved me. I was lucky for the second time to run away from a molester. I worked in a various factory and was hired at Bantex as a shoe seamstress. Since I could no longer help my relatives at their house, I had to move to bed spacer near the factory. The house owner also sold food outside the factory gate. To get free accommodation and food, I saw opportunity. So I helped wash the cooking utensils and pack food for sale after work. They liked me because I was hardworking. I also cleaned the entire boarding house, so I got everything for free. I needed to earn a lot to support my siblings who were studying, as well had no one else to ask for help but me. So I worked and worked. I didn't finish my college degree. Growing up, I have many painful memories because all our relatives saw us as mere helpers. They treated me as a servant. I remember life of Saint Faustina. Never give up in all difficulties in our life. I got married at the age of 23. Just like any woman, we hope to have a good life when we got married. I hope that life will be better. Thinking my husband would help me with all the hardship and became my partner in life, but he didn't. Like my father, he also loved to drink. He liked hanging out with friends, adding to my struggles. The painful part was having children, one after another, within 5 years. I gave birth at Pabella, where there were 2 patients per bed. You know, because we could not afford to pay for a house, we squatted in Dagat-Dagatan, Caloocan, which paid for through NSA told it was only 80 square meters. Our roof was made of linoleum. Our walls were made of cabinets, tarpaulin. It was muddy inside. And we had only one bed that we all squeezed into like sardines. I was working at Adidas then. I also got the godmothers of my children from there. I hope that they would help me in case of emergency, but they didn't. They even got angry when I borrowed money to buy medicine. My children grow up drinking milk made from 1 scoop of milk, powder, and boiled ground rice. I also sold snacks that I cook myself just to have extra money for food and milk. All my children went to public school and walked to get there. Then time came. I was transferred at the Adidas warehouse where I met various suppliers. One time, one of the bag suppliers had a printing problems. I boldly claimed that my husband knew how to print because that was his job. I was so proud to say that. I thought that it was an opportunity I could not miss, so I pledged him and myself. They gave me the purchase order. I was very happy because I thought at that time that we would have a business. I was excited and thinking finally we can have something. But when I got home and told to my husband, he got angry. And instead of feeling happy and thankful, he called me ambitious, asking where we could get the money to buy materials, paints, tables, and more. My hope got tested once again. I did not lose hope. Since I was already committed, I borrowed another 5,000 from 5,600 to buy what we needed. We finished printing well, but when the bags were turned over, they were rejected because the paint peeled off. Fortunately, my QA and the suppliers took pity on me and taught me how to retouch them. By God's grace, we fixed everything, although my husband blamed me, saying his eyesight worsened from all the retouching. Instead of gratitude that we finally finished the project smoothly, he got mad at me. Eventually, I met the supplier paint for large-scale printing, and they taught me techniques on how mix paint depending on the materials used. Until the purchasing department found out that we were doing printing, they gave me the promotions of Adidas. They gave me project. I was so happy that I immediately bought 2 plywoods board, which becomes long table for us. Our house had a roof and hollow blocks walls by then. So we did the printing inside. But the painful parts was that my husband did not support me. Instead, he helping me and be my instead of helping me and be my partner, he directed me to his friend, telling to talk to them to finish thousands of towels and t-shirts be given to the players of the Philippines. It was hard. I'm doing all works even though I got help to his friends and youngest brother. It's not enough to finish the project on time. My hands are tight with all the works. I have 5 children to take care also, and I was battling with pressure. Since there was due date that I thought we could not meet because my husband was not helping and came home drunk, I was so distressed and didn't want to embarrass myself at Adidas. It was late at night, and my husband did come home to continue the work left by our friends. In presence of pressure, I thought to committing suicide by drinking 10 quartals and gin. I collapsed and knew nothing. I woke up in the morning being kicked by my drunk husband, asking why I slept there. I suddenly woke up to reality and said, "My God, thank you for not letting me die. What about my children? Are they gonna be with their father who does not care about us? Are they gonna be taken care of when I'm gone?" That's when I started harboring resentment towards my husband. By God's grace, we finished the printing well and delivered it on time. Really, Jesus I trust. I was given 1 week extension, enough for us to complete the project. At the same period, my husband left and went to Dubai to work. I continued printing businesses, which grew, but our company eventually closed. Back then, I had to find alternative to survive. I cook and sell foods in front of our house again. My children, who were still in elementary school, helped me. They delivered food to all the vendors since we lived inside the market street. Then my siblings, who migrated to Guam, USA, entrusted to pass their business of supplying vegetables to Shakey's to me. I continued to supply vegetables to this restaurant chain. I bought large potatoes, onion, green peppers, and many from Divisoria and Balintawak. I was running both my vegetables and printing businesses simultaneously, and I had live-in workers, including my youngest siblings and their friend. However, because I was busy with the vegetables and printing, I did not realize that the people staying in my house had become addicted to drugs. This has also led my sons to start hanging out with bad company. One day, I received a call that my third son had been stabbed with an ice pick because his friend was involved in riot. My son was caught while running away. So he was the one who got stabbed. And another son was caught with friends who had marijuana in his pocket. And he went to jail because he did not want to leave his friend. I had to bail him out to get my son released as well. Then my son was stealing money from me to give to his friend, who turned out to be addicts. When I was confronted him, he got angry and even threatened to stab me with scissors because I would not let him to leave the house. He ran away and did not want to come back. But after a week, he returned crying and asking for forgiveness and help because he wanted to change and did not want to be addicted anymore. That's when I learned to pray fervently to God. Before, I would pray without going to church. I asked, "God, is this the price of a comfortable life that my children would go astray?" For the first time, I gathered my children and talked to them. I told them I would stop doing business and go back taking care of them like before. When we help each other, even if we had nothing to eat, they told me, "Mama, don't. We promise to change. My son, who was an addict, asked me to put him in rehabilitation center. I found the rehab that was near the cemetery and had many people of different ages, both young and old. I admitted my son there, and when I did, I had to buy an electric fans and mattresses for him, and also had to buy for his roommates. I did it anyway. After 3 weeks, I visited my son. They said, my son is missing. He had run away. I felt like I was going to faint. My whole body trembled, and I didn't know what to do. I went home, prayed and begged God, asking for mercy. Early in morning, there was knock on the door, and it was my son, crying and exhausted because he had walked all the way home. I hugged him and said, Mama, I can change even without rehab. It was so hard inside. I told him, Son, okay, I will take care of you and be with you. I won't leave to do business anymore. I'll stay by your side. But he said, I should continue the business because his sibling would suffer, and he don't want that to happen. By God's grace, my children became well. The printing and vegetables delivery continued, and at that time, my husband was still in Dubai. Then one day, someone offered me 3 old trucks. The printing business was slowing down, but luckily, I had already bought an L300 for vegetables and printing deliveries. See the timing. When one door closes, another window opens. I got into trucking business. I gained knowledge from the trucking because of the driver I met in Balintawak. He managed a trucking business and was only doing trips to Balintawak as a sideline. He has 3 trucks that always run out of allowance. And so, they borrowed money from me. That's where I got the idea for trucking. When the trucks were for sale, I bought them, even though they were all broken. It took me a year to repair them. They could run. The vegetables and printing business slowed down. The 3 trucks, I only got trips twice a week. In 2002, business continued to run that way very slow. In 2004, since we had Bekel during Holy Week, I thought of going to the grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes. The driver said it was hard to get there. So we went to the National Shrine of Divine Mercy in Marilao, Bulacan instead. And the church was still under construction. After the Mass, that were many people inside, we went down to grotto, like area with Mama Mary on top. And below were people with crutches who were said to have been healed by divine mercy. I don't even know how much saints, and the only one I know is Jesus. There was a rusty basket with envelopes and pen on top. You should write your name, address, cell phone numbers, and beeper, maybe a beeper back then. I wrote on the envelope and donated 1,000 pesos for the first time. After that, the businesses continued to thrive. A month later, I received a letter from Divine Mercy, and it was from Father Vic Robles. There was a 6-inch Divine Mercy image enclosed. I placed it in the record notebook of my tracking and printing business. Blessings started to pour my way since I visited the National Shrine of Divine Mercy. I was very happy, and my clients were also pleased me because I was hands-on. I managed to run 9 trucks for almost hundreds contracts. Milevine became well known because I personally managed it. One time, I dreamed about Mama Mary. She was over my head, and I was looking up, reaching for her hands. I woke up with tears in my eyes, even though I did not go to church, since I was too busy. But we always prayed. I asked my driver why I can't find the image of Mama Mary above, and he said it was at Divine Mercy, Marilao. I asked to be taken there, and when we arrived, there's a mass happening in the fields with many people in 2006. We had just standing, and when they sang, "Alam kong may magagawa ang Diyos," I suddenly felt cold and shivered all over. I cried and cried, not knowing why. Suddenly, my sins to God came to mind, and I confessed after 43 years since my first confession in my grade 3. Since then, I attended the healing mass every Saturday and went to church at Divine Mercy every Sunday in 2006. When I first bought a truck, I had it blessed at Divine Mercy, Marilao, with an envelope for church and the priest. I put 5,000 pesos in church envelope and 2,000 pesos for priest. They said it was first time someone gave such large amount for blessing. I thought, considering the cost of trucks is 2 million, it was still small amount. So every year, I brought my trucks there to be blessed every January. I want to believe that everything happens for a reason. Through my business, I was able to help to build churches. When I reached my golden years, 2010, my friends asked me to celebrate. I thought, why not? Maybe it's time to think for myself. I had the celebration inside our garage. It does not look good or appealing at all, but it was okay. I didn't want nice venue. All I want at the time is to celebrate with my people, my employees, families, and relatives. I want my people to eat good meals. I want to celebrate with them as they are part of my success. The celebration was ended. Then there a priest who is staying still. I asked, "Father, where are you staying?" "I dropped you." I can't invite him to stay with us at the time since we're only renting and have no space for him. He then said his intentions. He has the charge to build, and he's lacking funds. He wanted to borrow 270,000 pesos. At that moment, I was thinking, how can this priest borrow money from me? Can he not realize that spend money for this party already? I didn't say this to him because I'm also shy to admit this to him. When we went inside my office, I grabbed my bank book and checked if I still have money. Surprisingly, I got 2 million lingering on my bank account. I wrote a check amounting 300,000 and gave it to him. He was so happy and said that it is too much. I said it's for the other materials such as nails, woods, and everything. From then on, he involved me to every progress of charge. I did not think twice to give him the money. I said myself, Divine mercy, I leave everything to you. You led the way. Jesus, I trust in you. That's the time I realized that I don't have to think twice or hold many thoughts for as long as I'm helping the church. It's not the typical me, but unconsciously changed. I became generous and selfless. My perspective has been changed, and I then help wholeheartedly. When the church was completed in 2012, and it was time for the dedication of the Divine Mercy Church, our whole family was required to attend, and it was the feast day of Divine Mercy. My child were on the school break, and it was our first time traveling and flying on a plane. So, my children were very excited. They thought we were going on a vacation to Puerto Princesa. When I told them that we were the sponsors for the church dedication, one of my children said, Mama, look where we live. It's so small. I'm sure you helped build the church because we would not be invited otherwise. I said, children, it's only right that we build a beautiful house for God before ourselves. They didn't say anything more, but I know they didn't understand it. And when we were at the airport, my phone rang. Someone called me, asking me to come to a big company because they heard I was good at handling trucks. When we got back, I had a meeting right away. They offered to buy 10 trucks and give me a 30 to 40 trips per week. Then my old clients' trips was also increased. We were able to buy house on installment. My trucks and clients increased, but I never forgot to help the churches, those in need. Even I could not give everything they needed, I always gave something, even in a small ways. I never counted what I gave. If I had something to give, I will give it without any hesitation. I'd like to believe that everything we have back then until now, it's because the Divine Mercy was very kind to us. With all the struggles I've been to, normally we would have given up, but I remain strong and surpass all. I now know that I am alone. I'm not alone, and our God did not forget me. He gave me challenges that He knows I can surpass. And the little help we gave was returned many times over. Despite that many trials in life, I never gave up and always prayed, Jesus, I trust in you. Now, my husband and I are separated. A lot of things happened that also affected my children. I stayed with my faith as my guide. Time really healed all the wounds. Now my children are big. Thank you, Saint Faustina and Saint John Paul II. They supported me with my mission with the divine mercy. When my children saw their father's life was not good, they begged me to help him and build a small house for their father. I could not refuse, so I built him a house. I never hold grudges in my heart. I always think that if I am capable of helping, I will help. When the pandemic happened, it was like nightmare, especially for those who lost loved ones and got sick. I also contracted COVID in 2021, but by God's mercy, I survived. There was no hospital available, but I had many friends who were bishop, priests, and nuns. So they found hospital for me in Pampanga. I survived. God made way for me to seek treatment. I almost lost my hope at that time since I having a hard time breathing. But because of my faith, I felt that COVID strongly. The COVID-19 pandemic is something we did not all expect to happen. Nobody prepared to face this illness. Everybody is helpless. During the pandemic, our employees were kind to stay with us. They continued to work until it ended. As my way of giving back for their support, I helped them, even their family. I took care of all their kids' education and give them food to sustain their daily lives. Actually, even before pandemic, I took care of them. I have many extended families that I took care. I pray to God to become His instrument so I will be able to help. Together with divine mercy, He made way. He helped my children to change. They previously did not want to help me in the business, but they volunteered to work in the office out of fear of COVID. They would call me to ask what needed to be done while I stayed at home. They became responsible in life, in business. That my cue to serve myself as an instrument to help others. I got the time and resources. I believe our God helped and made me surpass everything so I can be able to be of help with many people. So, as a way of giving back, during the COVID period, we donated our all income to churches, thousands of trays of eggs, thousands of size of rice. I thought the business would continue smoothly, but it didn't. After the pandemic, the business suddenly slowed down, and we were showered with extreme challenges. My trucks encountered numerous accidents that led for us to slide for our drivers. I got buried in debt with clients who did not pay me for almost 30 million because they conspired to deny the charges even though they were at fault. God tested me once again, but even these things happened to me, I never questioned Him. I trusted Him and seek understanding from divine mercy. I thought I would not recover, but God, divine mercy, Mama Mary, Saint Faustina, Saint John Paul II, and Padre Pio have mercy on me. Because of my strong faith, I still receive abundant blessings. My life story is proof that God hears us. Imagine tested by extreme poverty, struggles with the family, always got molested twice, been into numerous businesses, cheated and deceived in business. My mother got murdered. I almost died due to COVID. And yet here I am today, in front of you, standing strong and proof that God's mercy is true. That divine mercy is true. I am here today, living proof that God do exist. Because I did not believe in Him and have no faith, I don't think I will be here today. Currently, I am the head of Compradia of Padre Pio at National Shrine of Padre Pio in Batangas. I continue to believe in God's power and have faith that He can change people's lives despite the various trials. God is good to those who have sincere and strong faith in Him. Thank you.